The Warcraft Obsessor. Age 23. Location USA. Gender female. Please forgive my writing style. I haven't gotten much sleep the past few days, and this is kind of a rambling vent. I love this subreddit also. Far more scary than a lot of other true paranormal stuff. I played World of Warcraft, or WoW, for a few years. Yes, there are hazards of being a female player, such as lewd comments and whatnot, but I rarely, if ever, encountered that. I suppose I was lucky to have involved myself with people who respect a person's playing skills instead of focusing on their sex. I used to play on a pure PvP, player versus player, but myself and a friend decided to change things up. Being a friend of D&D, etc., we decided 2 years ago to move to an RP PvP server to test the waters of WoW RP. It was a big mistake. Every server has its own unique community, and we made friends quickly with some great people. We joined a guild and became active contributors. It all seemed normal, if not far more relaxed, than the competitive sharp edge of a PvP server. It was a nice change. One of the people we befriended was a player named Phil. He seemed like a normal, everyday guy, wanting to RP with the guild and was funny as hell. Myself, him, and a few others became fast friends, and anything we all did was filled with goofiness. Just to let it be known, I started dating a guy who was involved in the same guild. Not online dating, we just happened to live in the same town and hit it off. And he was friends with Phil. Things seemed normal. My gut didn't give me any creep vibes at all from this Phil person. From what I saw, he had a girlfriend who played WoW also. They even roleplayed a wedding on that game. Myself, Phil, and my boyfriend always did things in the game together, and we were like the three amigos. I considered him a friend, and I trusted him. 6 months went by, and one day, my boyfriend and I got into an argument. I was miserably logged and onto WoW, and not just to deal with the problems. Phil seemed to sense something was up, and kept asking me what was wrong until I finally told him that there was an argument. That was it, nothing else, no gory details. It was like a light switch. My world was turned inside out that very moment. Suddenly, Phil poured his heart out to me, telling me how he had always loved me and that we were meant to be together. I was the reason he logged on to WoW, and I made his days better because I was in his life and that he needed me. Literally, a tsunami of this came out, completely out of left field. I sat in stunned silence as he kept telling me over and over again how he was in love with me and that we had to be together. I didn't know what to say. My friend, someone I trusted, was pouring their heart out to me like this, and it was absolutely not reciprocated. I gently turned him down and told him that although I was flattered, I didn't feel the same way and that I was in love with my boyfriend who was his friend and that he should respect it. Phil let out a mournful statement. Now I have to put you in the friend zone. I can never be with you. A little history on this guy, Phil. He isn't very stable. He came to me in confidence and told me how he had been arrested and thrown in the psych ward multiple times for attacking his mom, then trying to commit suicide. He also bragged about using women who were depressed to get sexual favors out of them. He quickly recanted it, though claiming he was joking when I got angry with him. Other than him sometimes coming to me and talking to me about his personal problems, there was no indication of any attraction from his end. It was different after that. I told my boyfriend what happened and he was not happy at all. He considered Phil a friend and what he did violated his trust and respect. He barely tolerated him, if not at all. I don't blame him. Phil was a completely different person after that. He became obsessive and clingy. He kept bringing up that I was making a mistake and that no one would love me as much as he did. He kept making ultimatums and threatened our friendship, claiming he was quitting the game pretty much anything he could do to try and change my mind. He didn't respect the fact that I could make a fucking choice to be with someone that I loved. It's like he didn't understand I have the right to choose who I want to be with, and I didn't have to be with him just because he claimed he loved me. It got to the point he pretended to overdose and to suicide on Vent, a program people can use to talk to each other. I wish I was kidding. My boyfriend got pissed and logged off, and I got very angry. I blew up at him. How dare he pull this shit? I ripped him a new asshole, telling him to quit his shit or I would ignore him and tell everyone what he was doing. I also told him I was going to call 911 right then and there to go and save him. Phil clammed up quickly and left Vent. Not 2 hours later, he was miraculously okay. Things seemed to quiet after that. Phil stopped communicating with me and stayed away from our group of friends. It was peaceful. A month later, he came back with a new girlfriend, and I breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, I don't have to worry about this anymore. It all seemed like it was back to the old times, but it only lasted one day. Just one. The next day, I received a message from him about how he doesn't know how to choose between me or his new girlfriend, and that he was still madly in love with me. What was there to choose? I don't want you. I got really angry at him. I told him that he needed to respect his girlfriend and not pull this shit, and to respect me and my decision that I make my own in my life. I would never, ever love him or ever be attracted to him. He became quiet again, but a week went by and he started saying I love you to me in front of our friends, and he started posting on my Facebook wall things about me breaking up with my boyfriend and stuff like that. Apparently, random girls were sending him nudes, to which he would text me and be like, "What should I do? I want to be loyal to my girlfriend." Hilariously, I found one of those very pics on a porn site as an ad. I took a picture of it and sent it to him. The pictures finally stopped. The last time I logged out of Vent, at the last minute he said, "I love you," and I logged back on and chewed him out in front of everyone. I told him never to say that to me again, and if anyone else hears him say this, tell him to just shut the fuck up. I was so angry and embarrassed. It was negatively affecting my relationship with my boyfriend, and so I completely cut Phil out of my life. I unfriended him on Facebook. I blocked his number from being able to contact me as well. It didn't stop him though. He figured out my Skype info and started messaging me there. He also pestered my friends in the game, who were wise to what he was doing about me. Wanting to know information about me, it got to the point he asked someone for my personal address. In the end, all of my friends blocked him from communicating with them, and it seemed like it was over. Now and then he would try to communicate with me, or one of my friends claiming he wanted to have a friendship again, but he was promptly shut down. I wish I could convey in words the drama and misery he created with all these things that he did. There was absolutely nothing to salvage. We all moved on to bigger and better things, different games, different guilds. I became engaged to my boyfriend. Our relationship survived Phil and his craziness. It was all plain and simple, wonderful. Until a few days ago, while I was offline, Phil started making threats in the trade channel chat in regards to myself and my personal information, all being posted on a malicious website. The master of the guild, my fiance, and our friends joined immediately to my defense and pretty much had to threaten Phil's image to guilds he roleplays to get information from him. Phil at first tried to refuse, claiming he would only talk to me, but once his image was threatened, he relented, and he forked over the damage he did. He tried to claim I was being targeted, completely random by the way, that my personal information was released, pictures of me and my WoW information. With some investigating, it turns out Phil was the one who hacked into my personal emails and various other goodies and tried to ruin me somehow by posting it on a dangerous website. It's frightening what he tried to do, and all because I didn't want to be in an online relationship with him. What's more crazy, he told my guildmaster that he should make sure that I email him and thank him for letting me know what happened. What a douchebag. I consider myself lucky because it could have been far worse. He lives thousands of miles away from me. What damage was done was the end of a friendship. A friendship that I thought I had. The mental draining, the paranoia, the loss of security. I don't feel safe right now, and I contacted the proper authorities in my area, and I'm going to be filing harassment charges against him. Luckily, I screenshot his nuttiness. Also, I wrote a GM ticket begging for help in regards to Phil's actions. He used to be my friend, and I did care about him. Now, I fucking hate him. He won't stop. It doesn't matter how much time passes. Every few months he comes back, and this is the climax. I just want peace. I realized long ago, Phil didn't love me. He wanted to control me, and him interjecting himself into my life now and then is him still trying to maintain control somehow. Is it really so hard to just let go? If you have feelings for someone and they don't share them, the greatest way to show that you truly do care is that you respect them and let them be. Warcraft Stalker. I have played WoW, World of Warcraft, since release day, and up until 2 years ago, when my first daughter was born, I still did. I met my husband because of that game, and had 2 babies. That game saved me from the cruel reality that I was forced to endure at the hands of my father. I was safe in this virtual world, away from his sick perversions and harsh words and actions. I thought. I loved to raid a lot, religiously. And as a 16-year-old girl playing a game dominated by men, I got a lot of attention, 90% of it being negative. This is one of those, although I didn't think so at first. My guild and I were raiding, and our main tank was sick, so we were low a body for Nax. We found a new tank from a sister guild and began our raid night. I was a healer and was assigned to said new tank. He was super nice and very talkative. We talked a lot that night, even long after the raid had ended. We even went so far as to exchange MySpace info and email. His name in the game was Razor, so that's what I always called him. My name in the game was Chastity, so that's what he always called me. We didn't use real names. And now I'm so very glad. We talked forever, and I was thrilled to discover he lived not 25 minutes away. Now, seeing as how I was a 16-year-old girl, I posted way too much information on MySpace, way too much, keep that in mind. Razor and I talked for weeks and weeks, and he was so nice, and he even helped me through a tough breakup. We talked on the phone until the wee morning hours, and he listened to me cry and offered kind advice to a very lonely, very stupid teenage girl. Keep in mind, he said he was 27 at the time. Looking back at this, I now realize how creepy it was. He started flirting, and I must admit I flirted with him a bit too. Then he got sexual, and as a 16-year-old girl, I lived for attention. Then his sexual emails got slightly violent. One incident in particular I remember was an email he sent where he told me in graphic detail how he would like to rape me so hard that his man parts would rip through my cervix so he could feel the inside of my womb. Stupidly, even after reading that, I still talked to him. One day after walking my dog through the park, I returned home to the phone ringing off the hook. No one was home, which was normal as my parents both worked a lot. So I answered it. It was him. The first thing he said was, "I saw you today. You're so cute." Then he proceeded to describe my dog, everything I was wearing, and even my makeup. I said, rather shakily, "Ooh, why didn't you say hi? I didn't see you." He said, "Oh, I didn't want to scare you. You'd know me if you saw me. I have a lot of scars, mostly on my neck." Even back then, in all my stupidity, I was starting to get scared. I said, "Yeah, from what?" His reply was way too happy when he said, "From glass." All I remember next was hearing him say, "Can I come in?" I slammed the phone down and grabbed two of the biggest knives in the kitchen. I grabbed my dog and hauled her into my room. As I was barricading my door, I heard someone pounding on the front door. The pounding continued for what seemed like hours. Until it got dark, I jumped at every single noise I heard until my mom got home. I never answered any more of his phone calls or emails after that, though he sent tons and emailed me several hundred times a day. I'm so glad I didn't open that door. I was the creeper. I am a 28-year-old male living in the deep south. I am now a functional, medicated, and therapy-attending paranoid schizophrenic. However, I wasn't always this way, and this story comes from a time before I ever even knew what was wrong. It was about April 2007 when this happened. I had just come out of a painful divorce, and she had taken all of my friends away from me in the process. I was obviously trying to reach out to anyone I could, but I had severe codependency issues that I didn't know how to address. Anyways, I found myself wandering the game section of my local Walmart, as I am still a gamer at heart, and had to see what was available. Things were going alright, and I seemed to be in control of myself. Then, he appeared. This poor, unsuspecting soul started talking to me about World of Warcraft, which I happened to play. I perked up at this point, thinking I could make a friend, a new friend that hadn't been taken from me. We made casual jokes and talked about the new expansion. I can't remember if it had just came out or if it was soon to come. At this point, his mother, he was about probably 18 to 20 years old, judging by his appearance, came by and took him to another aisle. He didn't say goodbye, he just walked off, and like that, our conversation was through. Well, in my mind, we had made a connection. We had bonded. In my sick, twisted state, I thought he would appreciate it if we hung out for a while, so I followed him. I made a point to casually stroll down the aisles that he happened to visit, and strike up conversations with him about different things, jokes I can't remember. I could tell he was getting creeped out by the third time I had done this. He started getting this deer in headlights look every time he saw me, and it was starting to become a horror story, though in my eyes, it was perfectly natural. At some point, however, his fight or flight must have kicked in, because when I appeared, as soon as I opened my mouth to speak, he screamed, "Leave me alone!" and stormed off, dragging his mother as quickly as he could. This was a wake-up call for me, in that I was being severely creepy and also a stalker. I realized that this could very well be the behavior that caused my divorce in the first place. I checked myself into a mental institution soon after and got the help I needed. I am now significantly better, and my relationship with people have improved greatly. I now have good friends and a loving fiancé. Not all creepers mean to be creepy. Some of us just need the proper psychiatric help. On behalf of all the unknowing and good-intentioned creepers out there, I humbly and sincerely apologize for our behavior. It doesn't make it forgivable, but I hope it does give some context as to what goes on in the mind of a creeper. Thank you for your time.